you crave exciting sports takes and news? Fed up with the same old boring voices you hear on the radio? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you just might be a TBloomaholic. Lucky for you, it's time for another episode of the TBloom Talk Show, the #1 sports podcast in the world. Settle in, my TBloomanites, because another episode starts right now. Live from TBloom headquarters, here's your host, TBloom.
Shit, fuck. What's up, everyone? Didn't see that coming, did ya? Nation! TBloom Nation, welcome back to another episode of the TBloom Talk Show, special Christmas edition. Happy holidays, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, doesn't matter. You're gonna have a good time here. Corporate expanded the budget. Yo, you see it right here. I mean, we got a whole brand new TBloom Talk Show screen behind me. Things are opening up. Things are beautiful. It's a holiday time. I'm feeling real, Christmassy, real vibey. The holiday cheermeister is going to happen in about 2 hours after this podcast. I'm just excited for you guys to be here. Welcome to a special edition of the TBloom Talk Show. Man, do we have a lot to go over. This was a very overwhelming Sunday, to say the least. You know what we're going to talk about. All of Week 14's Sunday action that happened. A couple other stuff after that. First of all, let's tone it down. Let's tone it down, and you guys know why. Upon 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, when TBloom had rolled out of bed, scrambled his mind together, and you know how it is when you wake up, I received a notification, and I'm sure you guys all received that same notification. Steeler fans, you guys know where I'm getting at here. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, Steeler running backs, Franco Harris, has died at age 72. The legend, the maker of the Immaculate Reception, which completely set a whole new trend for Pittsburgh football in the 70s, has passed away. I don't know the full details on it. I haven't looked into it that much. It really doesn't matter to me how he died. The fact that he did die is sad enough. And I want to go ahead and give a 32-second moment of silence for Franco Harris and his family, starting right now. Rest in peace, Franco Harris. Now, I'm not one to sit there and dwell on everything and be just one of those down people when things like this happen. I know it's hard not to, but I like to move on and do as best as I can to keep the levels high. And that's how I wish people are going to be, when TBloom passes. So we're going to get this show rolling. Let's bring back up the cheer, the excitement. I'm sure Franco wouldn't want us to sit here and just, dwell on his death. It should be more of a celebration than anything of his life. So let's get the ball rolling today. Like I said, we got a full slate of games to go over. I'm super excited to go over them. There was a lot of interesting moments, interesting stuff that happened this weekend. And I want to talk to it with TBloom Nation. You guys are like my therapy, right? I mean, you guys don't know it, but coming in and laying all this out and laying all this, what I have to say about all these games out to you, it's like my therapy session for football. So it's awesome. Even if I get one view, it doesn't matter to me. It's always a good time. Let's start it off with the San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks, right? Was this the Thursday night game? Don't tell me I'm talking about the Thursday night game. This was the Thursday night game. We kind of already talked about this. Let's just go over some stats. Geno Smith, 31 for 44, 238 and 1 TD. Tyler Lockett, 7 receptions, 68 yards. DK Metcalf, 7 receptions, 55 yards. That would not be enough because the Seahawks would only score 13. The San Francisco 49ers would take it. by 21-13. San Francisco moves on to 10-4. Seattle moves on to 7-7. Seattle still fighting for that playoff spot. They're on a 2-game losing streak, just sitting out of that playoff positioning with the 8th seed. They're trending down because they're on a 2-game losing streak, and it seems like these teams in the NFL are starting to figure them out. Their next game is going to be the Chiefs, which is going to be, I believe it's going to be a good game because Seattle's fighting for a playoff spot, and the Chiefs, they don't like to lose. They're still fighting for AFC number 1 seed, and that's going to matter a ton in terms of the AFC race and stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting game. On the other hand, the 49ers, let's go through some stats. Brock Purdy went 17 for 26, 217 yards, and 2 TDs. Man, that guy can throw a Purdy ball. Am I right? Am I right? Come on, man. I mean, give me that. CMC, 26 carries, 108 yards, 1 TD, 6 receptions, 30 yards. He's doing everything he did in Carolina in the San Francisco 49ers jersey, and it's scary. It's scary for the whole league. It's scary for me as a Steeler fan because this is a team that can legitimately win the Super Bowl. Now, I know you think the Cowboys, they also have 5 Super Bowls, and the 49ers have 5 Super Bowls. I don't want them to catch up to me and the Patriots. So I say me and the Patriots like I am the Steelers. I don't want them to catch up to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. I don't even want the Patriots to be there, but I have to live with them. George Kittle, 4 receptions, 93 yards, 2 TDs. One of those touchdowns was just vintage George Kittle, right? Just catching the ball, stupid yak yardage, into the end zone, money. They sit at first place in the division. They're on a 7-game winning streak, the hottest team in the NFL. They're the 3rd seed in the playoffs. They're trending up, and their next game will be against the Commanders. That'll be a good game as well. Hopefully Taylor Heineken can get his shit together and make that a ball game because they're going to need all the help they can. But anyway, San Francisco moves to 10-4. The Seattle Seahawks move to 7-7. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty, some of the Saturday games. How did you guys feel about the Saturday games? It's kind of bittersweet when you see a Saturday game. I talked about that in the last podcast. But, I mean, these Saturday games, it felt weird to sit there and go to work and then there's NFL football. I felt like I was being robbed out of, the NFL. Like, I felt like my job was sitting there robbing me blind of time I can spend with you guys, with the NFL fans to watch some football, especially the kind of games that we're on. Now, let's talk about this Colts-Minnesota Viking game. Let me just start off by saying Matt Ryan might go down in history, not as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but simply as one of the biggest choke artists ever. And it's not necessarily all his fault, right? Because football, it's the ultimate team game. But to be a part of 2 of the greatest comebacks in history on the losing side, it's going to stain your career, right? It's going to put a mark on your career that it's going to be hard to get off. It's going to really decimate his chances of going to the Hall of Fame. Or maybe he does go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was part of 2 of the biggest comebacks in NFL history. One of them was in the goddamn Super Bowl. He was an MVP. Maybe he should be in the Hall of Fame. That's an interesting question now that I think about it. Anyway, let's just go over some stats. Indianapolis Colts would score 36. Minnesota Vikings would up it at 39-36. Here we go. Kirk Cousins, 34 for 54, 460 yards, 4 TDs, and 2 interceptions. He needed every bit of those yards to complete this comeback. Dalvin Cook, 17 carries, 95 yards. Coupled that with 4 receptions, 95 yards, and a TD. Dalvin Cook, I mean, is he top 5 running back in the league? Now that I think about it, me and my friend over on Sunday, we were discussing who is the top 5 running backs in the league. And I want you guys to answer that. TBloom Nation, tell me right now in the comments. Top 5 running backs in the league. Dalvin Cook's got it. He made his case right here. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. Dual threat as fuck. Let me know in the comments. Justin Jefferson, 12 receptions, 123 yards, and a TD. KJ Osborne, 10 receptions, 157 yards, and a TD. I guarantee you, KJ Osborne wasn't on one fantasy team starting lineup. I mean, if there's a stat out there, if NFL.com has their statage for how many teams KJ Osborne started for, I would love to see it. Let me know in the comments. But I can almost guarantee you there's no way in hell anybody started him. So that's a ton of fantasy points just left probably on the waiver wire, right? And this is playoffs for most people, so a lot of people sick with that. Adam Thielen also got a TD. This was the biggest comeback ever. The Vikings just absolutely, I don't know how they did it. It was 33-0 with about 8 minutes left in the game, and they came back and won. On the other hand, you got Matt Ryan and the Colts, 19 for 33, 182 yards, and 1 TD. Zach Moss, 24 carries, 81 yards. Michael Pittman Jr., 10 receptions, 60 yards. Julian Blackmon, he had a pick 6. And for the brand, shout out Pat McAfee, the kicker, Chase, I'm going to mess this name up, Chase McLaughlin, 5 for 5 throughout the whole game, and his deepest was from 53 yards. Very productive day, I would say, for a kicker. Now, where does this leave both these teams? Well, the Minnesota Vikings moved to 11-3. They're number 1 in their division. They're on a 1-game winning streak. They're second place in the playoffs. They're on an even trend. I'm not going to give them an uptrend because you can't go down 33-0, even if you do come back. That's cool. But you went down 33-0 to a 4-9-1 team in the Indianapolis Colts. You can't uptrend for getting this win, even if they were to win. I mean, unless they were to blow them out, then I can't give you an upwards trend. They're on an even trend. Their next game is going to be against the New York Giants. You know what that means. That's going to be a fucking hell of a game. You have to think. Both those teams are fighting for a playoff spot. It's getting to that point in the season where every game kind of means something, except for a few, and I can't wait to talk to you about those. I have an interesting idea, TBloom Nation. Just hang with me. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. On the other hand, the Colts, they sit at 3rd in their division. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Playoffs, not acceptable. Trend, downwards. Next game, this is fucking, I almost just said San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers is their next game. And I bet you somehow the Chargers are going to find a way to make that a ball game, even though that has no business being one. All right. But the Vikings, biggest comeback ever. Absolutely mind-boggling that they even had a chance to win that game. Jeff Saturday, you fired. You're fired. And you got hired, right? And I will always be an advocate for, Jeff Saturday should have got hired. Because you can't make a wrong choice for an interim head coach. Because they don't, I've already gave the stat weeks ago. Most interim head coaches don't become head coaches. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's less than like 10% of interim head coaches have become head coaches in the last, it's like 20-something years. Take a sip of my juice. So God. Indy fans, man, what do you do? I don't know. Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns. Man, this was a boring game. I mean, right? There's really no star power here besides Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb. And the Ravens just could not put up points. Final score, Baltimore 3, Cleveland 13. I mean, real typical AFC North style game in the sense of it's a low-scoring one. Both defenses were playing well. Both teams were running the ball very successfully. And it was a low-scoring, competitive game. For the Browns, Deshaun Watson probably had the best game since he's been a Brown. 18 for 28, 161 yards, 1 TD. Couple that with 6 carries for 22 yards. Nick Chubb, 21 carries for 99 yards. Nick Chubb, another guy who's got to be in the top 5. And Donovan Peoples-Jones, 4 receptions and a TD. Donovan Peoples-Jones slowly turning into the Browns' number 1 receiver. And it's not like, they have Amari Cooper, right? But it's not like, it is Amari Cooper. What happened? Has Amari Cooper been injured? Let me see this. I mean, what's up with that guy? Because why isn't he getting the ball from Deshaun Watson? Let me look at this. I know, it's my job, TBloom Nation, to have this stuff up and ready. But I don't think of these questions until I start talking about them with you guys. So they don't arise in my brain until I start, discussing. Like I said, you guys are my therapy. Let's just see. Was he even playing in the last game? Was he playing? Amari Cooper was playing. Huh. Yeah, he had 4 receptions for 58 yards. I don't know, man, but it just seems like Donovan Peoples-Jones is slowly turning into a, maybe not the number 1, but maybe, coming into his own as a receiver, as a dominant presence on the field, as someone that you should key in on if you're a defensive coordinator. Maybe that's just blowing smoke up his ass. I don't know, but it seems that way. On the other side of the ball, you got the Ravens, who had Tyler Huntley starting, 17 for 30, 1 interception. I don't have the yardage. I'm sure it was sub 150 yards. I mean, for all that Tyler Huntley is, we never expected him to be good, so any kind of success that he did have, we overplayed it, right? We magnified it because we were like, Jesus Christ, I mean, this guy should have just been done. So it's like, yes, he's good for being a backup, but it's Tyler Huntley overall. J.K. Dobbins, 13 carries for 125 yards. Gus Edwards, 7 carries for 55 yards. That's interesting because 13 carries for 125 yards. Why is he only getting 13? Why is J.K. Dobbins only getting 13 runs when he's averaging, what is that, like over 5 yards a carry, right? Yeah, I mean, interesting. Interesting that the Ravens did not run the ball more. Really. Yeah, they averaged 7.1 yards per carry, and they only ran the ball about 20 times. They ran the ball less than 30 times. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, terrible coaching decision. I don't know what they think they have. They don't have anything at the receiving core. You could argue their best fucking receiver is Demarcus Robbins, who was like the 4th string on the Kansas City Chiefs. And then they go and pick up Deshaun Jackson like he's anything crazy now. The guy can't play a game without getting injured. I mean, I don't know, man. The Ravens, who in my opinion, have been one of the best coach teams since John Harbaugh came in, this looks like an error on the coaching side in this game. I didn't watch the game, but from the statage and from what I'm seeing, it looks like they made a few errors. Where does this leave these teams? Well, for the Browns, they sit at the 3rd in their division. They're on a 1-game win streak. They're kind of in the playoff trend. I mean, hopefully them and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a chance to make the playoffs. Very small, but still a chance. So they're trying to work themselves in, still got a lot to play for. They're on the uptrend, and their next game will be against the Saints. So maybe they can get something rolling here with the Browns. On the other hand, the Ravens, they're 2 in the division. They're on a 1-game losing streak. They're the 5th seed in the playoffs, and they're on a downtrend. You can't lose to the Browns and be on an uptrend. You can't. Not even an even one. You lost to the fucking Browns, man. It doesn't matter. You're on the downtrend. Their next game's against the Falcons. They should handle that one pretty easily. Maybe Lamar Jackson's going to come back. Maybe, because they need him, right? They need the guy. They do. Next game, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. The game of the night on Saturday. Miami would lose 29-32. This puts Miami at 8-6. The Buffalo Bills move to 11-3. Buffalo is now 1st in the division. They are 1st in the AFC. They are on a 5-game winning streak, upward trend, and their next opponent... Oh, no, I don't have their next opponents. God damn it, TBloom Nation, I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? It's the holidays, man. It's the holidays. I got a lot on my mind. I'm going to get it to you right now. Hopefully that's not buzzing. Okay, let's see who they're going to play. Come on. Quick. Okay. The Bills will be playing the Bears, which will be interesting because you got Justin Fields. And anytime Justin Fields is on the field, it's going to be a good game. Or at least an exciting one. And then the Dolphins. Oh, the Dolphins play the fucking... Oh, I know this. The Packers, which is also going to be a good game. Can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, Josh Allen, 25 for 40, 304 yards, 4 TDs. Coupled that, 10 carries, 77 yards. Guy's playing out of his fucking mind right now. Sorry, Uncle John. Dawson Knox, 6 receptions, 98 yards, 1 TD. Stephon Diggs, 5 receptions for 60 yards. Other side of the ball, Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, 17 for 30, 234 yards, 2 TDs. Raheem Mostert, 17 carries, 136 yards. No one saw that coming. At least I didn't. Jalen Waddle, 3 receptions, 114 yards and a TD. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 64 yards and a TD. This is a case of Miami. They played a good game, right? They just played a better team. I mean, the Bills are just a better team. They are a lot more cohesive in the fact that they've been together for about, 3-4 years, right? 3 consistently good elite years. So it's like, that's going to show, right? That's going to show in the playoffs. That's going to show in these later games. Miami, yes, they're a young team. All the talent in the world, all the speed that they can handle. But they haven't been playing together for as long. They don't have that sort of, like I said, cohesion. They don't have the experience of playing together. They don't have the, what's the fucking obvious word that I'm missing right now? They don't have the, God, I am blowing it right now. Gosh damn it, what the fuck? They don't have the... Oh my God, that's going to piss me off. Cohesion's the only word that's coming to my mind. If you guys know what the word I'm thinking of, put a comment in the comments, man. I'm losing it right now. Well, my whole point is, the Bills have been together as a team for the last 3 years. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, that defense. I guess Von Miller, no, but I mean, you can add Von Miller to any D and he's going to electrify him. The Dolphins, this is their first year together. You can't expect them to be able to just beat, Buffalo at Buffalo. I mean, they almost did. They were this close to. They had the lead in the fourth quarter. It's just, you can't really expect it. But the Dolphins, they are a really good team. They're going to be a juggernaut. They remind me a lot of the Bengals last year. They're going to surprise some people. I think they're going to knock off a really good team. Really good team in the playoffs. I'm not sure who. Once that comes out, don't worry. I'm going to write out my bracket. We're going to get the whole thing going. Next game, New England Patriots versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so we already had the greatest comeback in NFL history, right? On Saturday. If you guys were watching this game, which I was because I was over at my Patriot fan Justin Child's house, shout out. And man, I have a video of his face after the game. I won't show it for, copyright reasons and stuff like that, and just for the sake of his sanity. But, I mean, man, the way this game ended was unlike anything I ever seen in my life. Coincidentally, it reminds me of... The play doesn't remind me of it, but it was almost like the Immaculate Reception. Last play of the game. The stakes weren't as high, obviously, but the last play of the game, it's the most unrealistic scenario to happen. Jacoby Myers catches the ball. They start laterally. They were going to go into overtime, right? It's 24-24. They're heading into overtime. Last play of the game. Mac Jones hands it off. I'm pretty sure it was a 22 dive, right up the gut. Simple stuff. Go up the middle, get tackled. We're going to head into overtime. No, he gets a 10-yard gain. It's starting to look like, oh, can he break one? Doesn't break it. Runs about 15 yards. Ramondre Stevenson I'm talking about. Then laterals it back to Jacoby Myers. Jacoby's thinking, okay, we're in game time mode. You know what we're doing? Schoolyard bullshit. That's where we're going. He's running. He's looking. He looks all the way back to Mac Jones. Now, this is where I don't understand what he was doing. I understand trying to play schoolyard bullshit and I guess making an attempt to not go into overtime, even though you probably should have just went into overtime. But I understand just doing that. But why did he look back to McCorkle Jones in the backfield to think he was going to do something? He throws it to McCorkle Jones, which had absolutely no chance. Mac Jones had no chance of catching this ball because Chandler Jones is right there, catches it, stiffies McCorkle down to the ground, and he's off and running for a TD to end the game. So let's run it back. Let's say Mac Jones does catch this ball, right? Let's say he catches it and he somehow, okay, let's just say he catches it. Well, what does he do then? You think Mac Jones is going to run 65 yards for a TD? I don't even think there's anybody behind him at that point. There couldn't have been, because as soon as Chandler Jones stiffied him to the ground, there was no one to tackle him, and he was off running free, and there was 6 Raiders behind him. And another thing, Chandler Jones used to play for the Patriots, right? Big name he made his career in New England before getting off to Arizona and then now with the Raiders. Made his career there, and then he runs it back against his former team. It's poetic justice. It really, I'm sorry, Patriot fans, I don't have any sympathy for you guys. Just like you guys wouldn't have any sympathy for the Steelers. I mean, you guys blew it. Jacoby Myers blew it. I wanted to be a fly in the locker room, a fly on the wall in that locker room for what Bill Belichick exactly said. Because I bet you, at first I'm thinking, yeah, Bill Belichick, he probably came in there and just, started yelling and stuff. No, I think he was so mad he didn't say shit to anybody, got his own private jet, and flew back without the team. And when Bill Belichick's not speaking is when he's at his most livid. Absolutely crazy ending to this game. Let's go through some stats. The final score, Vegas 30, New England 24. New England moves to 7-7, Vegas to 6-8. The Raiders, Derek Carr, 20 for 38, 231 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. Josh Jacobs, 22 carries, 93 yards. Chandler Jones with a walk-off TD, as we just mentioned. On the other side of the ball, Patriots, Mac Jones, 13 for 31, 112 yards. No TDs, no interceptions, but a abysmal 12.2 QBR. Ramondre Stevenson, 19 carries, 172 yards and 1 TD. Jacoby Myers with 2 receptions, 47 TDs, and 1 big fuck-up. One of the biggest fuck-ups of his career, if not the biggest, bar none. Kyle Duggar also had a pick 6 for the Pats. I gotta bring his name up. He's a defensive player who got a touchdown. He deserves some credit there. Where does this leave the Patriots? Well, they're third in the division. They're on a 1-game losing streak. Playoffs, they're looking in. They're outside looking in, trending down. Their next game is going to be against the Bengals. We'll see what they can do there. On the other side of the ball, you got the Raiders, who are third in the division, a 1-game win streak. Also on the outside looking in for the playoffs. They're trending up. Their next game will be against this team right here. Pittsburgh, baby. Or shit. The Steelers, baby. Good luck, because we're coming. Kenny's back, and we're on the attack. Next game, Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to spend probably like less than a minute on this game, because this game absolutely means nothing. Both these teams are 4-10. Denver Broncos win 24-15. On the Broncos side, they had 3 interceptions. Justin Simmons had 2 of them. On the other side, the Cardinals, J.J. Watt with 3 sacks. He had a good game. Wasn't enough for his team to get the win. Where does this leave the Cardinals? Third in the division, 4-game losing streak, not making the playoffs, trending down, going against the Bucs next week. Where does this leave the Denver Broncos? Let's ride Broncos, right? Fourth in the division, 1-game win streak, trending, staying even. You don't beat the Cardinals without Kyler Murray and how they've been playing this year and think you're going to go up. You should have won this game. They're even. They are not making the playoffs. Their next opponent, the Rams, which might be the lowest viewed game in NFL history. All right, that's going to do it. Next. New York Giants versus the Washington Commanders. Now, if you remember the last game they played before this one, they tied. So we were thinking, okay, the Commanders, they went off on a bye. They had all 2 weeks to study on the New York Giants and see exactly what they needed to do to turn that tie into a W. They didn't do it. The New York Giants, they went on to play Philly. They got swamped. You know how that game went. And they came back, would win the game against the Commanders 20-12. Giants now 8-5-1. Washington Commanders now 7-6-1. And we're going to go through some stats after I take a sip of my juicy. Go love it. Okay. Commanders, Taylor Heineke may have had too many Heinekens before the game because he had 2 lost fumbles, 2 turnovers, both in fumbles. Regardless of that, he went 17 for 29, 249 yards, 1 TD. Brian Robinson Jr. Brian, I can get shot in the beginning of the season, come back and ball out. Robinson Jr., 12 carries for 89 yards. Why the fuck aren't you giving him the ball more? Jahan Johnson, 4 receptions, 105 yards and a TD. Swinging over to the Giants, Daniel Jones, 21 for 32, 160 yards, no TDs, no interceptions needed. He coupled that with 10 carries for 35 yards. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 87 yards, 1 TD, 5 receptions, 33 yards. Top 5 running back in the league. And he ain't 5. Let's just put it that way. Hey, Justin, if you're listening to this, we had that conversation. Saquon, he's guaranteed top 5 in the league. I was out of my mind right there. Moving on, Kayvon Thibodeau, not sure if I said that right, had a fumble 6. Got to give him credit. Defensive touchdown, shout out. They had 3 total fumble recoveries, which is a good telltale sign that you're going to win the game. Anytime you can have 3 turnovers or 3 takeaways in a game and not give the ball away, good chance you're going to win that game. Where does this leave the Giants? Third in the division, 1-game win streak, 6th seed in the playoffs, upward trend. Next game. Oh, don't you know the Minnesota Vikings? They're going to the Vikings. That's right, they're playing Minnesota. Going to be a barn burner. Next game, or not next game, on the other side, flip it over. The fucking Washington Commanders, 4th in the division, 1-game losing streak. Still in the playoffs, though, with the 7th seed. Downward trend. Next game, 49ers. What's going to happen there, folks? I have no idea. That's going to be another one I can't wait to talk about on Friday. By the way, Friday, we have a special announcement. Just wait for it. Just fucking wait, right? Just fucking wait. Okay. Los Angeles Rams versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, I won't spend too much time on this, obviously, because it's a goddamn shit show of a game. The Rams suck. So I'm not even going to bring up anything on their stats. We'll just say that they're 4th seed. They're on a 1-game losing streak. Baker Mayfield ain't it. They're not making the playoffs. They're an even trend because we know they suck. And their next game will be the Broncos, which, again, might be the worst, like the most non-watched NFL game ever. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. TBloom, what the fuck, man? Can you shave up? Can you get a little bit shaved up for the holidays? No, I'll tell you why. America's going through one of the coldest periods in American history. I'm not going to shave off my fur and just be sitting there shivering at night. No, okay? I'm sandy cheeks with it. I'm staying tucked in, not shaving shit. I mean, this is all, it's all genetics, right? You know why we grow beards? So we can stay warm in the winter. So we can stay warm when it's snowing out and it's freezing and it's chipper. Not shaving my beard off. For the beard I do have, it's a bit patchy, but in about 5 years, I'm sure that's going to be a nice, full, thick one, right? And it'll be all good. So no, I won't shave it off. At least yet. Anyway, Rams, Packers. Rams are 4-10. Green Bay 6-8. Green Bay would take it 24-12. Aaron Rodgers 22 for 30, 229 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Aaron Jones, though, who is, again, do you put him in the top 5 of the running back situation? Let me know in the comments. 17 carries, 90 yards, 4 receptions, 36 yards, and 1 TD. Dual threat as fuck. That seems like the new trend for running backs. They all have to be, like, in order to be one of the greats, with exception to Derrick Henry, you gotta be able to catch the ball. Right? You can't come out of the backfield and just run the ball. You got to be able to catch it. So, just the evolution of the running back position, right? Where does this leave the Packers? 3rd in the division. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They're outside looking into the playoffs. Now, they do have a chance to make the playoffs. And this is interesting because I wouldn't want to play fucking Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. Especially this season. He has nothing to lose. Like, you want a guns blazing, nothing to lose attitude, Aaron Rodgers coming in and playing your team in the playoffs? I don't think so. I wouldn't want that for my worst enemy. I mean, that is just, if they sneak into the playoffs, if the Packers can sneak into the playoffs, just, man, I feel bad for the team they're going against. Because you got to think, their defense is still not bad either. I mean, they're not absolutely elite, but they have a chance. They have the talent around them and the coaching in that organization to put together a complete game and to put together a dominating game as well. Now, will they do it? Who's to say? They got the Dolphins next week, so they got their, work cut out for them there. And I've never understood that analogy. What does it mean, like you have your work cut out for you? Because what that means to me is, oh, you cut out my work for me. That's one step closer for it to be done. Why does that mean that, like, it's going to be a hard time? I never understood that analogy. Let me know in the comments if you know why. The fucking Dolphins versus the Packers next week. I think it's going to be a good one. Tua versus Aaron Rodgers. Both these teams are fighting for a playoff spot. And it should be a good one. But this game was not. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they even had it on for Monday night. I don't know why that didn't get flexed out. That was the Monday night game, right? Yeah, why the fuck was that even a game on Monday night? Anyway, Tennessee Titans versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers would take it 17-14. Titans move to 7-7. Chargers move to 8-6. Justin Herbert for the Chargers, 28 for 42, 2 interceptions, 313 yards. Austin Eckler, 12 carries, 58 yards, 1 TD. Keenan Allen, 8 receptions, 86 yards. Pretty good stats there. Let me just blow my nose real quick. Actually, let's take a commercial break. Blake Laser from Laser Car Insurance on the show. Boom. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Just kidding. Yes, I did. You may formerly know me from Blake Laser Casino and Resorts. I moved on from that business and became an honest man. I'm now in the insurance game. Are you tired of getting screwed over by Geico? Maybe Aflac's just too annoying for you. Maybe Progressive, maybe Flo's just a whore who never called you back the day you met her and you don't even want to care about her anymore. That's okay. Blake Laser Insurance is here to help. We offer 3 different types: home, auto, and of course, tsunami. If you sign up today, $100 off your $500 monthly bill. That covers home, auto, and tsunami. Remember, get your laser on and go Gamecocks. Laser Insurance, we're here to help. We love you. All right, I hope you loved that word from our local sponsor, Blake Laser. He's been a friend of mine for years. Real good-hearted guy, and not the type of guy you want to leave your daughter around, right? But, the kind of guy that you want to have on your side if, let's say, the mob is trying to get after you. So, hope you enjoyed those words. Let's get back on with it. Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. We already went through the Chargers stats. Let's go to the Titans. Ryan Tannehill, 15 for 22, 165 yards and 1 interception. He would end up leaving this game with a right ankle injury. Malik Willis would step in, go 3 for 4 for 20 yards. And I think 1 rush for like 10. But yeah, the Titans, man, they are looking bad. Derrick Henry, 21 carries, 104 yards, and he coupled that with 4 receptions for 59 yards. Interesting. Derrick Henry, is he starting to, become that dual threat? Is he starting to understand, hey, maybe I got to open up, expand my horizons in a sense? Probably not. But Derrick Henry, man, I wonder what his contract looks like. I wonder when his free agency comes up, because I wonder how many years that guy has left on his legs. Anyway, let's just look at the stats. Titans are first in their division because their division's trash. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Isn't that interesting? They're on a 4-game losing streak, but still number 1 in their division. God. This year in the NFL, it's like the spread of the divisions are just absolutely crazy. Like, you have some of the worst divisions in NFL history and some of the best divisions in NFL history. It's absolutely bizarre. They're on a downward trend, obviously. They're 4th in the playoffs because they're number 1 in their division, so they have to be at least 4th. Their next game will be the Texans. We'll see what they do there. On the other side, the Chargers, they're 2nd in the division, 2-game winning streak, trending up, 6th seed in the playoffs, and they have the Indianapolis Colts next. So, going to be interesting there. And like I said, you already know that they're going to somehow make that a ball game and, almost lose it, but just barely win it in the end. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cincinnati would go down 17-3 at half, but work their way back to a victory, 34-23 over the Buccaneers. This moves Cincy to 10-4. This moves Tampa to 6-8. Tom Brady, 30 for 44, 312 yards, 3 TDs, and 2 interceptions. Chris Godwin, 8 receptions, 83 yards, 1 TD. Russell Gage, 8 receptions, 59 yards, and 2 TDs. Russell Gage, okay. Mike Evans would have some decent stats, but no TDs. This is Russell Gage's time, okay? Russell Gage and Chris Godwin's time to shine. On the other hand, Joe Burrow, 27 for 39, 200 yards, 4 TDs, and 1 interception, and a 17-3 point comeback. Came back Joe Bo, slow Joe Mo. That man is just increasing his legendary status as the weeks go on. I'm not happy about it. You think I'm happy about this? You think I'm happy there's a guy named Joe Burrow over there in Cincinnati cooking up something special, and he's got a guy named Jamar Chase who's been with them since Louisiana days? You think I'm fucking happy about any of this? No, but these are the facts. Joe Burrow is playing just as good as Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. But who's the better quarterback? Who is the better quarterback out of those 3? I'm going to go Josh Allen because he can run. But here's the thing with Josh Allen. And it's the sad truth, and I know you Buffalo Bills fans, you don't want to hear this, but Josh Allen plays like a fucking fullback. There's a reason why quarterbacks who take as many hits and the kinds of hits that Josh Allen is taking don't last. It's either, one, sad truth of football, brain injury, right? Quarterback, if not any other position in the league, you use your mind more than any other position in the league. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments if I'm wrong. So he's taking these brain injuries. Number 2, wear and tear on your body, right? He's not going to be as fast in about 3 years. He's not going to be able to take off as quick and stuff in about 3-4 years. But right now, I think he's the best quarterback in the league. And that's tough to say because you got a guy named Patrick Mahomes and another guy named Joe Burrow in the same league. So, Joe Burrow, let's get on with it. He went absolutely stupid coming back. 3 other receivers would catch TDs. I know Tyler Boyd caught one, T. Higgins got one, and then I think their tight end also got one. So, big day for the Bengals, moving on and beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 11 points after being down 14 points going into half. Now, where does this leave the Bengals? It leaves them number 1 in the division. It puts them on a 6-game winning streak, hottest team in the AFC. Or are they? Yeah, I believe. Yeah, they're the hottest team in the AFC. They're on an even trend, right? I think they should have beat the Bucs, and I think they're still sitting behind the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. And I know the Chiefs beat them, okay? Bengals fans, fucking calm down. I understand the Chiefs beat them. I think they're a little bit more ahead of the Bengals in terms of just overall power rankings. The playoffs, they're the 3rd seed, and the Patriots are their next opponent. So we'll see how that works out for them. On the other side, the Bucs, first in their division, 2-game losing streak. They're trending down. They're 4th seed in the playoffs, and they've got to play the Cardinals next. And man, just like I talked about Aaron Rodgers and how if he gets into the playoffs, it's going to be a scary situation. Tom Brady's going to get in the playoffs. That's going to be a scary situation on its own. All Tom Brady needs is a chance. All Tom Brady needs is a time, a stadium, a few refs, some, what do you call it? The stuff you put under your eyes, face mask, helmet, equipment, and a football. That's all he needs, and he has a chance to win the Super Bowl. So, that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how the playoffs end up lining up and what teams are going to play who, because it's going to be an exciting playoffs. I can already feel it right now. All right, we already talked about those guys. Winding down here to the last 4 games I want to talk about. We're going to start off, we're going to do it. My Pittsburgh Steelers, baby, versus the Carolina Panthers. Pittsburgh 24, Carolina 16. Steelers move to 6-8. Carolina moves to 5-9. For the Carolina Panthers, Sam Darnold, 14 for 23, 1 TD, and 225 yards. He suffered his first loss this year as the Panthers starting quarterback. Panthers total team rushing, here's an interesting stat, 16 carries for 21 yards. And this is going against the Steelers team who gave up, I think, almost 200 yards rushing against the Ravens last week. So Steelers shored up some stuff. I know the Panthers are not even close to being the best running team in the league, but they made sure that they didn't become one of the best running teams in the league this week by only allowing 21 yards on 16 carries. DJ Moore would have 5 receptions, 73 yards, and a TD. This moves the Carolina Panthers to second place. They're really the only team who can beat the Bucs out for first place, I believe. I guess the Saints and Falcons still do have a chance, but I think the Panthers are the more... I don't think any team's going to beat out Tom Brady in this division. Let's just put it that way. They're on a 1-game losing streak. Their playoff chances are, I just went over those. They're on a downward trend. Their next game will be against the Lions. Interesting game for a couple reasons. Who'd win in a fight, a Panther or a Lion? Guys, these questions matter. Let me know in the comments. For the Steelers, Mitch Trubisky, 17 for 22, 179 yards. He did everything he needed to do to not lose the game. He didn't win the game. He just didn't lose it like he did last week against the Ravens. So shout out Trubisky, but Kenny Pickett's coming back. So go ahead and fuck yourself. Najee Harris, 24 carries, 86 yards on a TD. He's really coming into his own in the second half of the season. Jaylen Warren would also have 11 carries for 38 yards on a TD. And Deontay Johnson with arguably his best game of the season with 10 receptions and 98 yards. Let me scratch that. Not arguably his best game of the season. This was his best game of the season. And I don't know what was up with all the Carolina Panthers cornerbacks talking shit like they were even good. Like they're even good. Like they're not 5-9. Like Deontay Johnson wasn't routing your whole fucking roster for the whole game. And one thing also, Pittsburgh and receivers just in general, like when you're down by points, specifically when you're down by points, stop celebrating. Like, what do you have to celebrate? Like that shows so much selfishness. That shows so much selfishness. Selfishness to get up after and it's usually like little 10-yard catches. It's not even nothing nasty, like little wide open catches they catch, and they get up like they're just the biggest shit in the world. Stop it. Stop it. Go make a fucking touchdown and make a comeback, then celebrate. Then be excited and start talking shit to people. I mean, I'm so sick of all these receivers. They think they're so fucking good and they're not. They really do. And Deontay does the same fucking shit. But Deontay's nasty, don't get me wrong. Best route runner in the league, arguably. Like I said, arguably. Top 5 at least. But he just makes all these catches and he just starts talking shit. For what? For what? God damn, I never understood that. And Marcus Allen on the Pittsburgh. Dude, you're an up back on punt team. On punt team. You're on the punt team. Means you're barely on the fucking roster. Stop oh my God, I don't even want to get into it. Really don't even want to get into it. Next game. Detroit Lions, New York Jets. Man. Detroit would win 20-17. They moved to 7-7. This also moves the Jets to 7-7. Jets, Zach Wilson, 18 for 35. What the fuck does that say? 18 for 35, 317 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. The Jets' rushing yards for this game, they had 22 carries for 50 yards. Shout out to the Lions defense for stepping up and making it hard and making Zach Wilson beat you. Garrett Wilson, 4 receptions for 98 yards. CJ Usama, 2 receptions for 2 TDs and 41 yards. Quincy Williams, he had 2 sacks. Shout out the guy, the big boy. Anytime you get more than 1 sack in a game, you're going to get a shout out from TB, if I see it. This moves them to number... What the fuck? I don't know what I was writing there. This moves the Jets, I believe, to number 4 in the division. Because it goes what? No, this moves them to number 3 in the division, I believe. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Their playoff hopes are in shambles almost. They're on the outside looking in. They're on the downward trend in their next games against the Jags, who are also fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, the Jets, man, they had it all. What were they, 6-3? 6-3 a couple weeks ago, and then all of a sudden they moved to 7-7? I mean, holy shit. When it all falls down. You guys know that song? Yeah, it's a good song. I mean, that's pretty much what describes the Jets season right now. On the other hand, you got the Lions. Jared Goff, 23 for 38, 252 and 1 TD. DeAndre Swift, 8 carries, 52 yards, coupled with 5 receptions for 23 yards. Romeo Okwara, 2 sacks for the Lions. Shout out to the defense. This leaves the Lions second place in the division. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're the 8th seed, outside looking into the playoffs. They're on the upward trend, and next week they got a pretty easy opponent in the Carolina Panthers. Something's telling me they're going to blow that game. I don't know why. Maybe because they're the Detroit Lions. We'll see. Next game, shall we? One of the biggest surprises of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Houston Texans. Houston made this a game. It's a 14.5-point spread, and the Texans didn't need any of those points. Well, they needed about half of those points. Anyway, Chiefs would win 30-24. They're 11-3. Texans moved to 1-12-1. They're looking for the first seed or the first pick in the NFL 2023 draft. They're probably going to get it. For the Texans, David Mills, 12 for 24, 2 TDs, 5 carries for 21 yards, and 1 TD. Shout out the Mills. Shout out. Royce Freeman, 11 carries for 51 yards. They also had 2 fumble recoveries to make this game a little bit easier for them to stay in. On the other hand, Patrick Mahomes, 36 for 41, 336 yards, 2 TDs. He's putting on for all you fantasy owners out there in the playoffs. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 carries, 86 yards. But the story of the game was Jerick McKinnon with 10 carries, 52 yards and a TD, coupled with his normal 8 receptions, 70 yards, and 1 TD. Travis Kelce, he had 10 receptions for 105 yards, also almost got into a fight. And Juju Smith-Schuster really coming into this offense over the last couple weeks. He's got 10 receptions for 88 yards. Where does this leave the Chiefs? Number 1 in the division, 2-game win streak, 2nd seed in the AFC, even trend. You don't beat the Texans and go up. You're lucky you don't go down for barely beating the Texans, but you're the Chiefs, so you get a pass. And then the Seahawks, it will be their next opponent. So we'll see how that goes. For the other side, you got the Texans, 4th in division, 9-game losing streak. Playoffs, Trend, even. Everyone knows you suck. Next game, Titans. We'll see where that leads. And the last and final game I will be going over. Damn, we're almost at an hour, baby. Almost at an hour by myself, man. I don't know if any of this is, like, entertaining at all. I hope it is. But I don't know how I'm doing it. Goddamn hour. It doesn't even feel like that. Take a sip of my juice. Cheers. Dallas Cowboys versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, oh man. Jacksonville's coming in, really fucking putting the stamp on it that they are not a team that's on the downward trend anymore. They're not a team that's looking for that top 5 pick anymore. They're not a team that's, just trying to put it together and, see what we can do and see what we got. They're not that team anymore. They're in it for real now. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 40-34. Dallas moves to 10-4. Jacksonville moves to 6-8. How about T-Law, boy? My boy T-Law. Sunshine. 27 for 42, 318 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. Travis Etienne Jr., 19 carries, 103 yards. Zay Jones, 6 receptions, 109 yards, and fucking 3 TDs. Zay J, baby, and T-Law? Is that the next 1-2 punch? Is that the next Ben and AB? I mean, come on now. On the other side, Dak Prescott, 23 for 30, 3 TDs, 256 yards, and 2 costly interceptions, especially that one at the end, which was not his fault. Guys, that was not Dak Prescott's fault. This game went into OT. Dak Prescott throws it over the middle. I forget the receiver's name, not even going to mention him. Bobbles out of his hands. Jacksonville Jaguars catch it, run it back for a touchdown, walk off. I think this might be the first NFL week ever where there's been 2 walk-off TDs. Check it. Leave a note in the comments. Tony Pollard, 19 carries, 75 yards, 4 receptions for 31. He's slowly inching, what's his name out? Zeke Elliott. I don't know. He's not the number 1 anymore. How can you be the number 1 when... No, you're not the number 1. You're not. Tony Pollard is. CeeDee Lamb, 7 receptions, 126 yards. Noah Brown, 6 receptions, 49 yards, and 2 TDs. And I think it might have been Noah Brown who did that, who fumbled that... who fumbled that ball that led to the interception for the Jacksonville Jaguar player to score. And I wish I had his fucking name because he deserves to be shouted out on the podcast, the guy who ran it back for the Jaguars. Shout out to him. Where does this leave these two teams? Guys, the Cowboys sit at second in their division. We know that they had a chance to maybe get it from Philly. This lessens their chances. I think Philly just needs one more win and they're guaranteed number 1 in their division, or maybe they already clinched it. Pretty much they got it. Cowboys, 1-game losing streak, 5th seed in the playoffs, downward trend. Their next game is going to be against the Eagles, and interesting coming out, Jalen Hurts might not be playing in that game. He said there's a chance, but he might not be playing. On the other side, Jacksonville Jaguars, 2nd in the division, 2-game winning streak, 8th seed in the AFC playoffs, outside looking in, waiting for somebody to fuck up on the 7th or 6th seed. They're trending up. Their next game will be against the New York Football Jets. And guys, that's going to do it for this edition of the TBloom Talk Show. It came on Wednesday. Usually it comes on Tuesday. But I promised you guys a few weeks back I will be giving you 2 episodes a week to make up for the time lost. But that's going to do it for today, guys. I appreciate every single one who tunes in. As always, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Corporate is looking for 100 subscribers by the new year. Guys, I don't know what they're going to do if we don't hit it. As you can see, they've opened up the budget a little bit. They gave me a little TBloom Talk Show in the background. They made it a little bit more official. We got the Christmas tree going, Holiday Cheermeister. We need subscribers. Let's make it happen. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in 2 days, Friday. Big announcement, baby. Until then, TBloom out of here.